welcome back to another video on the channel. In this one I'm going to be previewing and giving my predictions for today's Cincinnati Open quarterfinals on the men's and women's side. I think the tournament's gone very well so far, and I've been surprised by how high quality the matches have been. I think a lot of the matches have been very good, played at a great standard, and I'm sure we're going to have many more fantastic matches at this year's Cincinnati Open, leading into the US Open, which again will be a fantastic Grand Slam. And kicking off today's quarterfinals, I'm going to talk about the men's 4 matches, and kicking off with Novak Djokovic against Jan-Lennard Struff. I didn't think Djokovic was at his best in the second round, he got a bye in the first round, but last night I thought he was outstanding in a straight sets win over Tennis Sangren. He just looked much improved from the night before, served a lot better, returned a lot better, his double-handed backhand looked as good as it has for the past few years, being very aggressive with it, hitting lots of clean winners. And Sangren played at a good standard, tested Djokovic, but he was just a step ahead and just way too good. And great signs for Djokovic moving into the business end of this tournament and obviously going to the US. Seems to be finding his rhythm, and the match intensity seems to be going up from his side of the court. And just playing very good tennis. We know this year he's still unbeaten, hunting all the titles down, and is currently the best player in the world, in my opinion, by quite a way. So if he does turn up at 80-90%, you do expect Djokovic to be winning this event and the US Open, in my opinion. But with the likes of Daniil Medvedev and Stefanos Tsitsipas, Milos Raonic still in the draw on hard, quick courts, you never quite know. But Djokovic, while he's still in the draw, playing like he did last night, he is a huge favourite. His opponent, Jan-Lennard Struff, has sort of peaked as his career's gone on. He seems to be getting better and better. A big serving German, very powerful from the back of the court, and Djokovic said today it'll be a tough test, with the courts playing as quick as they are in New York. He'll be serving a lot of first serves, but Djokovic is going to have to be on his game for the returns. But we know how good Djokovic's return to serving is. As soon as he starts reading that Struff serve and gets the ball back in play, then Djokovic becomes huge favourites for the points. So a pretty straightforward prediction. I don't see an upset here with the way Djokovic played last night. I don't think Struff's got enough variety in his game to trouble Djokovic in his service games, and I think one break of serve each set will be enough. And I expect Djokovic to win in straight sets. On arguably match of the day, definitely match of the day on the men's side for me. Daniil Medvedev against Roberto Bautista Agut, and just mentioned there how quick the hard courts are playing, and I think that definitely suits Medvedev. Big hitting style from the back of the court, very powerful, hits a lot of clean winners, got a fantastic serve, and he's just sort of blown away his opponent this week. He's looked very good, moving very well. As I say, looking aggressive, confident. He's the defending champion. Cincinnati reached the final of the New York last year of the US Open, so he'll be very confident going to these next few weeks in this period of time, especially with the likes of Nadal and Federer out. He knows he's coming there as one of the favourites. He's going to have a fantastic draw, and he seems to be thriving on that and really trying to take his opportunity. He would meet Djokovic in the semi-final if he was to beat Bautista Agut, but we all know Bautista Agut will not give him it easy. He's a fantastic player, very fit, quick, great stamina, and he's a player that always gets recognised as an energizer bunny. Just sort of runs from side to side, gets every ball back, and he does enjoy counter punching. He does enjoy pacing the ball Bautista Agut, but I do feel that Medvedev's just going to out hit him in this one. The courts are playing quick. If Medvedev gets any short balls or serves the way he has, he's going to be incredibly hard to stop. And even a player that's got the defensive abilities of Bautista Agut, I'm not sure even he can run down the ball when Medvedev hits as hard as he does. He's going to have to be on his game, Medvedev. He's going to have to play extra shots. Bautista Agut's got fantastic defence, good variations, and he will make Medvedev really play. So Medvedev's going to have to be on his game. He's going to have to strike the ball very well and cleanly and find the corners from an early stage. Get his authority on the match and serve well. But I do think the match is in his hands. If Medvedev does hit the ball clean from the back of the court and find the lines, and I don't really see a way that Bautista Agut can stop that. But he is going to have to be on his game. But I will predict Medvedev to come through that one and set up a It'll be a fantastic semi-final against Djokovic. Moving on to Riley Opelka against Stefanos Tsitsipas, and Opelka reaching the quarter-final of a tournament like this isn't a massive surprise. He's a player again like Leonard Struff, whose career seems to be getting better and better as it progresses. With the courts being as quick as they are, he's got a fantastic serve, 6'8", I believe he is. Beat Matteo Berrettini yesterday, which is a fantastic win in straight sets. And his all-round game sort of surprised me. He rallied quite well with Berrettini and won lots of points during the rallies. His backhand looked very good down the line. But Stefanos Tsitsipas again, he came through a tough encounter yesterday, beating John Isner in 2 tie breaks. He's got a lot more variation than John Isner. Just struggled to return the serve, which everybody does. But once he got in the points, I thought Tsitsipas looked very good, passing Isner at the net a few times on his single-handed backhand, and I expect him to have a similar match tonight against Opelka. Maybe his tie breaks or very close sets, but when Tsitsipas eventually does start reading the Opelka serve, getting into the games, you do expect the movement of Tsitsipas and the variation single-handed backhand to cause Opelka problems, and I do expect Tsitsipas to sort of come through these matches. It is very tough when you're facing a serve that's coming at 140 mile an hour in a quick court. It does get quite tiring and frustrating to try and return it, but I do expect Tsitsipas to sort of work out and solve the serve of Opelka and come through that one eventually. So I will predict Tsitsipas to win that one. And moving on to the final men's quarter-final between Milos Raonic and Filip Krajinovic, and Krajinovic is just sort of having one of them weeks where he just seems to be blowing everybody away. He beat an albeit below par Dominic Thiem the other day in straight sets, and then beat Martin Fucsovics last night in straight sets again. It was 6-1, 6-2, who had previously beat Grigor Dimitrov, but playing very well. I do think both of these opponents have been subpar performances, which has probably helped matters, but you can't doubt Krajinovic is playing very solid tennis. Fully deserves to be there, but I think he will face a huge test against Milos Raonic, who came through in straight sets against Andy Murray last night, having previously lost 8 meetings in a row against Murray. I did talk yesterday about how he would come through physically after that match against Zverev. It was a long match, I think around 2 hours 50 to beat Zverev, and you do wonder how Murray's body holds up during events. I think he's capable, Murray, of beating still top 10 players on his day in a one-off match, but then to follow it up the day after against another top 16 player with a huge performance is going to take some doing. And the more match practice Murray gets and the more experience he gets on with this new hip and new way of life almost in tennis, I do think he'll get better and better. But last night he just wasn't there, Murray, really. He didn't serve particularly well, didn't move fantastically well, but he was up against a rampant Raonic. He seems to be back somewhere near his best, Raonic, after that injury break. I didn't think his serve was the most consistent last night. He will be looking to serve, I think, better today. But what did impress me was his forehand and backhand. He was very aggressive, and his forehand looked fantastic. Smashing winners into the corners and just sort of dominated Murray, really. Every time he got the short ball, he was just powering them into the corners. There wasn't really what Murray could do. And yeah, Raonic returned very well. I thought his all-round game looked very solid. And I do think Raonic will come through this one and set up again. It will be a fantastic semi-final with Stefanos Tsitsipas. Moving up the women's side now, we have Jessica Pegula against Elise Mertens, and Pegula's had a fantastic week. She's always done well in America during her career, but this week beating Jennifer Brady, who was one of the favourites coming in following her win in Lexington, beat Amanda Anisimova, who's another American coming through, and also beat Arina Sabalenka last night, which is probably her career best win. But Pegula spent a lot of time on court, also playing the doubles, and up against Elise Mertens, who comes into this tournament in very good form, having reached the Prague final before it was against Simona Halep. Mertens is a fantastic hardcore player, and I do expect Mertens to come through this one. She's looked very solid this week. Got lots of good form on hard court and good wins on hard court, and Mertens is a player that I think can make a major run at this week's event and also the US Open. So I do think Mertens will come through that one. Just for the fact I don't think Pegula will have a lot left in the tank, and to try and play Mertens and perhaps not feeling his physical best will be very, very tough, and I do think Mertens will come through. Annette Kontaveit against Naomi Osaka. Kontaveit reached this stage without dropping a set yet. Played very well, but is facing a different animal than Naomi Osaka. We've seen in 2018 when Osaka hits a run of form and she's feeling confident and hitting well from the back of the court, that nobody could stop her in that time. And after what was a disappointing spell, dropping down the rankings and sort of losing her confidence and struggling mentally on court during matches. From what I've seen of Osaka this week, I've watched a couple of matches. She looks back to somewhere near her best. Looks a lot more confident now. Mentally stronger. Just seems to be taking each point as it comes and not beating herself up and going on a lull of losing 4 or 5 games and throwing away a set. She seems to be fighting hard in every set, and the more the match progresses, the better she seems to be timing the ball and striking it. And some of her play last night against Jamstremska was outstanding. She beat what was a very good opponent in front of her comprehensively, served very well, returned well, and just we've seen it before from Osaka. When she plays the best, there's nobody really in the world that could do anything with her. The power in which she hits the ball with is just immense on both sides, and if she again turns up on a hard court that's playing very quick and strikes the ball like she can, other than the likes of Simona Halep, I don't see anybody in the world that's got the defence to cope with the power of Naomi Osaka. And with the form that I've seen of Osaka this week, you can't really bet against her in this one, so I'm going to go with Osaka to win that one. Moving on to a player that I did say last year was one to watch, coming up the rankings, and I've seen Ons play live for a week and never quite seen a woman's play like her, with the sort of variation that she's got, the drop shots, the backhand slice, also got the ability to just out hit anybody, and just such an unorthodox but fantastic player to watch. I don't think there's anybody quite like Ons on the tour, and she seems to be just getting better and better, claiming bigger and bigger wins and climbing the rankings all the time. Has already got wins over Leila Fernandez, Madison Keys and Christine McHale this week. So 3 fantastic wins there, puts her in a fantastic position going into tonight's match against Victoria Azarenka. And Azarenka again, a player that had a very good career in the past, seemed to go up and down a bit, but this week she looked rejuvenated. She looks back somewhere near her best, not closing out matches like she would, had a couple of opportunities to get through matches very easily, then sort of being broke at the back end of sets, but recovered well enough to win all the matches in straight sets. And this could be a very good match. You've got the form of Azarenka, who hits the ball very hard from the back of the court. She's got a big serve. Then you've got Jabeur, who's got all the variations, likes to take the pace of the ball, but can also mix it up and rally from the back of the court and hit clean winners. But I'm going to go with Jabeur. I just think with Azarenka that she's sort of more one-dimensional, and she'll have to be on a fantastic hitting day to blow a player like Jabeur off the court. And Jabeur, I think, has the ability to problem solve. She, as I say, she can really take the pace of the ball. She can do lots of drop shots and bring Azarenka into the net where she's not perhaps at her best. And I just think Jabeur's got too many variations and in too good a form against a player like Azarenka, so I will be predicting Jabeur to come through that one. And finally, arguably match of the day, alongside Medvedev and Bautista Good for me, is Jo Konta against Marie Sakkari, and this is just a complete 50-50. The form we've seen of Konta this week is arguably the best in the men's or women's draw. She just seems to be playing out of her skin, serving very well on first and second serve, just sort of adopting this new aggressive second serve, which is faring her very well. Has been a vulnerable part of her game in the past, but doesn't seem to be this week, and she's just out hitting anybody. As soon as she gets that short ball, just power and forehand or backhand at the corner, and there's nobody even touched Konta really yet. But I'm assuming she will have a very hard test tonight against the Greek Marie Sakkari, who claimed a fantastic win over Serena Williams last night, having previously beat Coco Gauff earlier in the draw. She battled very hard against Serena last night. Arguably could have took the opening set before losing it. Recovered very well to take that second set, breaking Serena when serving forward, which was great mental attitude to come back, and determination to come back from down and out really against Serena. And when she got that third set, the writing was sort of on the wall. I don't think Serena had a lot left, and it was worrying signs I think for Serena last night. I think it's shown now that if she does reach the third sets against these younger, fitter, very good players, and she does struggle in the deciding sets, and Sakkari really just took over, sensed her opportunity, broke early in on the third set, and just sort of ran away with the match. Fully deserved to win it in the end. Fantastic performance from a good up and coming player. But this match is incredibly hard to pick. They both look so good this week from the back of the court, have similar game styles, and I am going to tip Maria Sakkari just for the fact that she is battle hardened. You know, she's come through tough matches this week in particular against Serena, which I think can almost set you up better than a player who's just sort of blew away to opponents. And for Jo Konta, I really hope she does find consistency in a game, but I've followed her career for a long time being British, and I've seen it time and time again with Konta that she plays so well for a couple of matches and then doesn't play well at all in one, and just sort of throws away all the hard work. And although I really hope that doesn't happen for Konta tonight, and that she has a good performance and, you know, wins the match, until that really happens and she puts together a run of results and a run of fantastic performances at tournaments, then you can't really see that coming, because it's happened so many times that she showed that inconsistency. But hopefully this is the time now. She's getting better, more consistent, and she can produce a good performance tonight against Sakkari. But I do think Sakkari will come out in 3 sets, but that's probably the hardest match of the day to predict. But if you are watching the tennis today, it is live on Amazon Prime in the UK from around 4 o'clock. So do tune in. But thanks for watching video. Please like and subscribe, and I will see you tomorrow to preview the semi-finals.